when the local area plan was adopted, the boundaries were set. Things were more or less written in stone.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time too, if they were that outrageously silly, or stupid really, would be a word that could be used, they could be contested, and they were contested through An Bord Pleanála. So in other words, any form of development that was aspired to be done within the local area plan, within the area of the local area plan, required planning permission.
Mm-hmm.
So it was at that stage that we then further battled away.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, we've been quite successful in showing how wrong a lot of these decisions by local authority were.
And what was the importance of the train station for the community?
Train station would transform people's lives in the Louth area, and it is exceptionally strategically located, halfway between Drogheda and Dundalk.
Mm-hmm.
It's right in the middle of the county. It makes perfect sense. I mean, every tenet of sensibility was saying, right lads, we should open this train station.
Uh-huh.
In effect, what happened is the developers came in, they provided a planning application for 167 apartments, 350 underground car parking spaces, a huge amount of retail, commercial space, and absolutely no consideration towards the reopening of the train station.
Mm-hmm.
To my mind, that was absolutely silly. It was bizarre.
And how were you won on 3 occasions against those development plans near the train station. Why were you successful?
The board upheld all arguments and points that we put to them in relation to reopen the train station. The biggest concern by the board, which was ours, that any development adjacent to the train station would prejudice the reopening of the train station. And it was also policy of the local authority to have the train station opened. So from that perspective, we were in the right, hands down.
When you were successful with the 3 appeals and you stopped 3 residential developments near the train station, what was the response of the local community? Obviously the developers and their friends and family weren't terribly happy. As I understand it, that the one of the developers in fact physically assaulted you, and you took legal action, or the Garda did. But what was in general the broad community's response to the work of you and An Taisce in this area?
Well, it's very sad in what has been allowed evolve, and I mean it has been allowed evolve because we've never really grabbed this situation by the throat and explained in detail why we should be developing in a more proper and sustainable manner. I mean, we haven't dealt with that kernel as yet. My experience with the community is it's quite wholesome, really, because I know there is very strong quiet support, but I mean at this stage quiet support is of no use to me whatsoever. I mean, the assault case for me was very sad because it was a member of my community that you know, we had shared a business relationship for many years, and that he had been driven out of pure frustration or annoyance to actually, you know, have a go, which there's only one word to describe it as sad, and I do hope in time that things will work out in a more positive manner, or that people realise. In relation to the community, now I think, you know, that there is quite a bit, and I think I said this to you earlier, we could spend an hour, 2 hours all day speaking about this, but just shortly, initially in 2003, when the first local area plan was compiled and going through the process, there was, now from a village of, at that time, of 1,000 residents, there was 67 submissions on that plan.
It seems extraordinary.
It was a very healthy response. Now, I mean, you know, all the work we have been doing, a lot of work, you know, with the community, you know, having people feel involved in ownership and all that. So there was about 67 submissions in 2003. Now this time around, there's 23 submissions.
Why this dramatic fall?
I have a very clear thinking on this, and again, it is something that we have to deal with. Communities are and have been taken over by the more dominant mentalities within communities. Now, that is not to say that they are for the benefit of the common good or of the community, and that's where we have a problem. And that's where my work now lies. That problem needs to be dealt with.
Would you not agree, Gerry, that in fact you despite all the vested interest and the money at stake, that an individual like yourself, with the support of An Taisce, has been able to stop unreasonable or unsustainable developments in Dunleer over the last 10 years.
Oh, yes, no, without a doubt. And I tell you, I think the importance there too is with the support of an organisation. I think in an Irish context that's imperative. I think An Taisce sort of fits well into supporting. Again, most of, if not all of the work will come down to the individual that sees wrong being done to tackle it. But to know that you're doing it with the support of a national organisation is for any man, it's self-support, you know.